You were taught that caring more makes you more valuable, that showing up faster makes you more appreciated, that being available proves loyalty. And now you wonder why people dismiss you mid-sentence. Why do your texts get left on read for hours but answered immediately when you pull back? Why the moment you show interest, respect evaporates? You were never taught the truth. Neediness does not create connection, it creates contempt. And the people who sense it will use you until you learn to stop offering yourself so freely. You stay late to help a coworker who barely acknowledges you during meetings. You reply to messages within seconds, while they take days. You rearrange your schedule to accommodate someone who cancels on you without explanation. And you tell yourself this is what good people do. But good is not the same as powerful. And Machiavelli understood something you were never told. The moment you need someone more than they need you, you become a resource, not a person, not a peer. A tool they access when convenient and ignore when they are done. You handed them the power. They just took what you gave. This script will show you 7 psychological reversals that separate those who command respect from those who beg for it. You will see how silence creates fear, where words create weakness, how distance generates value, and where availability generates contempt, how refusal builds authority, where compliance destroys it. Most of you will leave before this ends. You will decide this is too cold, too harsh, too uncomfortable. That is expected. Comfort is what got you here. Realism is what gets you out. If you stay, you separate. If you leave, you stay exactly where you are. Put your phone face down and listen. Because what you are about to hear will not feel good. It will feel accurate. And accuracy is more useful than comfort. If this hits you, write "I am the strategist" once in the comments to mark the day your mindset changed. Now you text someone, and they do not reply. You wait, you check your phone. You wonder if you said something wrong. Hours pass, then you see them post online. Active, just not for you. So you text again, something casual, something that gives them an easy out. And when they finally reply, it is short. Detached, you feel relief anyway, because response feels better than silence. But here is what just happened. You taught them you will wait. You taught them that your attention is always available. You taught them you need the interaction more than they do. And once that lesson is learned, respect dies. Machiavelli said it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But most people mishear that. They think fear means aggression. It does not. Fear means uncertainty. It means the other person does not know if you will stay, if you will tolerate it. Suppose you will still be there when they decide to return. That uncertainty is what creates respect. Certainty creates comfort, and comfort creates carelessness. When someone knows you will always respond, always forgive, always be there, they stop treating you like someone whose time matters. They treat you like furniture, present, expected, exacted. You see this in relationships. One person is always the one who reaches out, always the one who suggests plans, always the one who smooths over tension. And they think this makes them a better partner, the more committed one, the one who cares more. But caring more does not win. It loses because the person who cares less controls the frame. They decide when to engage, when to withdraw, when to reward and when to withhold. And the person who needs the relationship more adapts to that rhythm. They shrink, they accommodate, they stop making demands because they are afraid the other person will leave. And that fear makes them smaller every single day. Here is the shift. The moment you stop chasing, the frame flips. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to explain. You stop. You stop double texting. You stop asking if they are okay. You stop filling the silence with reassurance, and something happens. They notice, because people always notice when the supply decreases. They might not say anything. They might act indifferent, but internally, they register the change. And if they valued the attention at all, even casually, they would start to wonder. They will begin to reach out. And when they do, you do not reward it immediately. You respond, but slower, calmer, without eagerness, because eagerness signals that you were waiting. and waiting signals that you are still in their frame. You are not. Not anymore. This is not manipulation. This is economics. Value is determined by scarcity. When you are always available, your presence costs nothing. When your presence costs nothing, it has no value. People do not respect what they can access whenever they want. They respect what they have to work for, what they might lose, and what they cannot predict. You think being dependable makes you safe. It does not. It makes you invisible, and invisible people do not get chosen. They get used to it. You are in a meeting, someone interrupts you, you stop talking, you let them finish. Then you try to continue, and someone else jumps in. You stop again, you smile, you nod, you wait for your turn, and your turn never comes, because the room learns in real time that you will yield, that your words are not urgent, that you can be spoken over without consequence. You told yourself you were being respectful. You were not. You were being trained, and everyone in that room registered it, not consciously, but deeply. You became the person whose voice no longer matters, and once that label is assigned, it is challenging to remove. Machiavelli understood that power is not granted, it is taken, and the way you take it is by refusing to accept someone else's A. When someone interrupts you, you do not stop talking, you do not raise your voice. You keep speaking, you hold your sentence, you finish your point, and if they keep talking over you, you let the tension sit. You do not fight for the floor, you do not ask for permission. You just let everyone in the room feel the disrespect happening, and that discomfort works in your favor because now the interrupter looks aggressive, you look composed, and composition always wins. But most people cannot do this because most people were taught that conflict is destructive, that tension means failure. If someone is upset, you must fix it. So they apologize. They smooth it over. They shrink themselves to make space for someone else. And every time they do that, they lose. Because dominance is not about being loud, it is about being unmoved. The person who stays calm controls the room. The person who reacts is being controlled. You see this in arguments. One person raises their voice, the other matches it. Volume increases, emotion escalates, and whoever loses composure first loses the argument. Not because they were wrong, but because they showed they could be rattled. They showed that the other person had access to their emotions, and once someone knows they can affect you, they will keep pressing that button over and over until you break or submit. That is not love. That is not passion. That is control. And you handed it to them the moment you started explaining yourself. Here is what power looks like. Someone accuses you of something. You do not defend. You do not justify. You look at them. You let the silence stretch. And in that silence, they start to doubt themselves. Because default implies guilt. Silence implies indifference. And indifference is the most terrifying response a person can receive. It says you are not even worth the energy of correction, that their opinion holds no weight, that they are irrelevant, and irrelevance is what people fear most, not anger, not hatred. Irrelevance. You do not need to be cruel. You do not need to insult. You need to stop performing. Stop defending your choices. Stop explaining your decisions. Stop seeking approval from people who have not earned the right to evaluate you. Because every time you explain, you step into their court. You accept their frame. You put yourself on trial. And once you are on trial, you have already lost. Because the person asking the questions holds the power. The person answering them does not. Most people spend their entire lives answering and answering to bosses who undervalue them, answering friends who drain them, responding to partners who judge them. And they think this is maturity. This is communication. This is how relationships work. But it is not. It is a submission. And submission does not create respect. It creates resentment. Because people do not respect what they can control, they appreciate what they cannot. You offer help before anyone asks. You volunteer your time. You go out of your way to make someone's life easier. And they say thank you. Maybe. Or they say nothing. And you tell yourself that it is fine. that you did not do it for recognition. You did it because you care. But here is the truth. Unrequested help is not generosity. It is a bid for approval. You are trying to prove your value and trying to show that you are helpful, trying to earn a place in their life by making yourself indispensable. And it does not work, because people do not value what they did not ask for. They value what they have to request, what they had to wait for, what required effort on their part. When you offer help immediately, you remove their agency. You remove the moment where they had to humble themselves and ask. And that moment is where respect is built, because asking requires vulnerability. And when someone is vulnerable to you, they remember it. They remember that you had something they needed, that you held power in that exchange. But when you offer first, you reverse it. You become the one who needs to be required. And need is the opposite of power. Machiavelli wrote that men are more ready to repay an injury than a benefit, because benefits create debt, and debt creates resentment. When you help someone without being asked, you create an unspoken obligation. They did not choose it. You imposed it, and now, every time they see you, they are reminded of what they owe you. They are reminded that you see yourself as superior to the giver, and they see themselves as the taker. That dynamic does not create gratitude. It creates distance. They start avoiding you, not because they are ungrateful, but because you made them feel small. Here is the reversal. Let them ask. Let them come to you. Let them articulate the need. And when they do, you evaluate. You do not say yes immediately. You pause. You consider. You make them wait just long enough to understand that your time is not free, that your help is not automatic. And then, if you decide to help, you do it without fanfare, without reminders, without keeping score. You helped once, cleanly, and you move on. No follow-up texts asking if it worked out, no subtle mentions later. You gave what you gave, and you expect nothing in return. That creates respect because you showed that you can provide without needing validation, that you do not require their gratitude to feel valuable. And that makes you rare. People respect rarity. They chase it. They remember it. Because most people are desperate to be seen as kind, as helpful, as well. And that desperation makes them common. You are not trying to be good. You are trying to be powerful. And power does not beg to be noticed. It simply is. You are in a conversation and someone says something you disagree with. Your instinct is to correct them, to explain why they are wrong, to present your perspective, and you think this is healthy, this is dialogue, this is how people grow. But watch what actually happens. The other person does not thank you. They do not reconsider. They dig in, they defend, they reframe, and now you're in a debate you never wanted. And even if you win, you lose, because you made them feel stupid. And people do not forgive that. They do not forget who made them feel small. They avoid that person, and eventually, they cut them out. Here is what Machiavelli knew. You do not change people by arguing with them. You change them by withdrawing your presence. When someone says something ignorant, you do not correct them. You go quiet. You let them finish. You nod, and you say nothing. That silence communicates more than any argument ever could. It says, I do not respect this enough to engage with it. It says you are not worth the effort of correction, and that hits harder than any rebuffal, because it is not an attack, it is a dismissal. And dismissal is what people fear most. You do not need to win every conversation, you need to control which conversations you enter. And most of them are not worth entering, because most people are not looking for the truth. They are looking for validation. They want you to agree, to affirm, to make them feel smart. And if you do not, they label you arrogant, difficult, cold. Let them, because their opinion of you is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to protect your energy, your frame, your authority. And you cannot do that if you are constantly defending your worldview to people who will never change theirs. The people who respect you are the ones who notice your silence, who sees that you do not argue, who recognizes that you are not trying to convince anyone. You move differently, and they start watching. They start asking questions, not because you pushed, but because you pulled back. That is an influence, not persuasion, not debate, withdrawal. And withdrawal only works when you mean it, when you are genuinely unmoved by their need for agreement, when you would rather be alone than tolerate stupidity. Most people cannot do this, because most people need to be liked. They need to be included. They need to feel that they are part of the group. And that need makes them weak, because the group does not respect its members. It uses them. It extracts value and offers a sense of belonging in return. And belonging is the cheapest currency there is, because it costs the group nothing, but it costs you everything. Your time, your energy, your frame. You trade all of it for a seat at a table you should have never wanted in the first place. You are invited to something, a party, a gathering, an event, and you do not want to go. But you say yes anyway, because saying no feels rude, feels cold, feels like rejection. So you go, and you spend the entire time wishing you were somewhere else. You smile, you make small talk, you perform interest, and when you leave, no one remembers you were there, because you were not present. You were pretending, and people can feel like pretending. It makes you forgettable. Here is the shift. You say no. You do not explain. You do not apologize. You say you are unavailable, and you let them react however they react. Some will be fine, some will be offended, and the ones who are offended will reveal themselves, because their offense is not about you missing the event. It is about you refusing to perform and prioritizing their comfort over your peace. And people who need you to perform do not respect you, they need you. And need is not the same as respect. Machiavelli said the first method for estimating a ruler's intelligence is to look at the men around him. The same applies to you. The people you spend time with reflect the standards you accept. If you are surrounded by people who drain you, disrespect you, and demand from you without offering anything in return, that is not bad luck. That is a choice. You chose to stay. You decided to tolerate. You chose to prioritize their feelings over your boundaries. And every time you did that, you taught them you do not value yourself. So why would they? When you start saying no, people will test you. They will guilt you. They will accuse you of changing, of being distant, of not caring anymore. Let them, because what they are really saying is, I lost access and I want it back. They are not concerned about you. They are concerned about what you gave them. And now that it is gone, they feel the absence. That absence is your power returning. Do not give it back, not to prove a point, but because you finally understand that your presence is not a participation trophy, it is a privilege, and privileges can be revoked. You were taught to be agreeable, to go along, to make things easy, and that training made you controllable, because agreeable people do not set the direction, they follow it, they adapt, they mold themselves to fit whatever shape the room requires, and the room requires nothing from them except compliance. So they comply, and they disappear. Here is what people do not tell you. Disagreement creates definition. When you say no, you create a boundary. When you set a boundary, people learn where you end and where they begin. And that clarity is what respect is built on. Not warmth, not agreeableness, clarity, because clarity tells people how to treat you. And when you do not provide that clarity, they treat you however they want. And usually that means poorly. You do not need to be aggressive. You do not need to be loud. You need to be unmoved. When someone pushes, you do not go back. You do not move. You hold your ground without announcing it or defending it. You stay exactly where you are, and they feel the resistance, not as hostility, as solidity. And solidity is what creates respect, because solid things cannot be shaped, cannot be moved, cannot be controlled, and people stop trying to control what they realize they cannot. Most people are water. They take the shape of whatever container they are poured into. You are stone. You do not adapt. You do not mold. You exist as you are. and people either accept that or they leave. Either outcome is satisfactory, because you are not trying to keep everyone. You are trying to keep your frame, and your frame is the only thing that matters. Now let's talk about what happens when you ignore all of this, when you keep being available, keep explaining, keep performing, keep seeking approval from people who do not value you. You become invisible, not hated, not disliked. Invisible. People forget you are in the room. They fail to include you. They forget to ask for your opinion. And when you speak, they do not hear you. Not because you are quiet, but because you conditioned them to tune you out. You became background noise, and background noise does not get respect. It gets ignored. You see this in workplaces. The person who stays late, who answers emails at night, who picks up the slack without complaint. They do not get promoted. They get more work because management learns they will tolerate it. That you know this person lacks boundaries, does not have standards, does not have other options. So they exploit it, not maliciously, just practically. Because why would you pay more for something you are already getting or free? You see this in friendships. The person who always makes the plans, who always reaches out, who always shows up. They do not make an effort in return. They get taken for granted because their friends learn they do not have to try, that this person will do the work for both of them, and effort is finite. People allocate it where it is required. When it is not needed, they stop giving it. And the person who never needed it wonders why they feel alone in a room full of people they call friends. You see this in relationships. The person who always apologizes first, who always adjusts, who always sacrifices. They do not get appreciation. They get more demands because their partner learns that this person will bend, will tolerate, will stay no matter what. And once someone knows you will stay no matter what, they stop trying to keep you. They stop investing. They stop caring because they know you are not going anywhere. And people do not value what they cannot lose. Here is the truth you were never told. Distance creates value. Silence creates fear. Refusal creates respect. These are not gains. These are not tricks. This is how human psychology works. People value what they have to work for, what they might lose, and what they cannot predict. And if you give them certainty, comfort, and constant availability, they will drain you until there is nothing left. Not because they are bad people, but because you taught them they could. Machiavelli did not write about cruelty for cruelty's sake. He wrote about power, and power requires clarity. It requires boundaries. It requires the willingness to be misunderstood, to be called cold, to be less labeled as difficult. Because difficult people are the ones who get respect. Easy people are the ones who get used. And you have been easy for too long. So here is your challenge. This week, do not initiate, not once. Do not text first. Do not make plans. Do not ask how someone is doing. Just wait. See who reaches out. See who notices. See who puts in effort when you stop carrying the interaction. And the ones who do not, you have your answer. They were never invested. They were enjoying the convenience. And convenience is not connected. It is an extraction. When someone does reach out, do not immediately shut it down. Respond. But later, calmer, without eagerness. Let them feel the difference. Let them adjust to the new rhythm. And if they ask what changed, you say nothing changed, because nothing did. You just stopped pretending. You stopped performing. You stopped offering yourself to people who did not value the offer. Some will leave. Let them. Because they were only there for what you gave, not for who you are. And the ones who stay, the ones who adapt, the ones who start putting in effort, those are the ones worth keeping. Not because they are better people, but because they responded to the frame shift. They recognized that access is no longer free, that your time is no longer automatic, that you are no longer auditioning for their approval, and that recognition is what turns transactions into respect. If you found this useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you want more. But do not do it to support me. Do it because you recognize that this information gives you leverage, and leverage is what separates the powerful from the powerless. Most people will never understand this. They will keep chasing, keep explaining, keep shrinking, and they will wonder why life feels so exhausting. You know why now, and knowing is not enough. You have to act. If this hits you, write, "I am the strategist," once in the comments to mark the day your mindset changed. You are not the person who waits anymore. You are not the person who explains. You are not the person who begs for a seat at tables that do not serve you. You are the person people adjust to, the people work for, the person people respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. That is the shift. That is the game. And now you know how to play it.